Hey guys, how's it going? Johnny Gordiva here. So, I wanted to talk this week about representation. And when I say representation, I mean uh, how people are represented in the media as well as just in culture all around. So, I was reading a few comments on a post on Facebook by RuPaul's Drag Race. And somebody had mentioned that for season 8, which is airing currently, that the top 4 that we currently have right now is probably the most diverse cast that we've had in the top 4. There are 3 black contestants as well as 1 Korean. So that is pretty diverse. I mean, there's not one white queen, Caucasian, however you want. And that's really kind of awesome. Somebody had posted that, that they don't really care about representation in the sense of race or ethnicity, that they don't see race or that they don't feel in terms of RuPaul's Drag Race or a talent show that race should be considered. So I want to say basically what they had quoted was that affirmative action did not apply because it's a talent show. First off, affirmative action, and let me preface this with, this is, when I speak of these things, this is not my culture. I grew up as a white male, and so I am given certain privileges that others do not receive. And so with that said, I do not know everything. What I do know from knowledge, I hope that I am, as accurate as possible. So basically, affirmative action is not, people like to throw that term around basically saying that that's the only way black people can get by. Or that affirmative action basically upholds somebody that is not deserving. For example, a job or college applications, things like that. The fact that you take offense to somebody who received a position or received an opportunity with a school and you're upset because of that shows your own prejudice and racism, possible racism if you're white. And what I mean by that is that you feel that you have to use the fact that they got that position due to affirmative action, that they wouldn't have got it otherwise. So that shows your own prejudice. So kind of going back to that representation, there's a reason why affirmative action is in place. It's ridiculous that we have to have such a thing in place in order for people to be represented, but we do have it. Diversity, especially in a talent show, should not have to do with affirmative action, but don't take offense when there is diversity in said show. So the fact that we have 3 black people in the top 4 as well as an Asian, that's great. I really do feel, at least this season, that they did it through mere talent. Last year was 3 white queens. And they were deserving of their own merits, though I do disagree with, the process of elimination. This was a very diverse cast this year. So back to that representation. As somebody who feels there are not enough overweight characters in the media, especially main characters, usually when we see overweight characters, they're schlubby, they're made fun of for their weight, like that's a go-to. They always have to be eating, they always have to be kind of like their life isn't together, or that all they think about is eating. Typically when they are in a relationship, it's another fat person. Or if they are with somebody, it's because of money or because that person has a fetish, or anything of that sort. And so I feel that there's a huge lack of representation for overweight gay people. Lesbians as well. I mean, not just gay men, but gay women also. So, as somebody who, now that representation, if there was more representation out there of gay chubby men, especially in the media and in positive light, I feel like I wouldn't have self-esteem issues, because there are other people out there who I can relate to. People will say, well, why are you using television and media as forms of how to deal when you can look in person to others? There's not very many people out there who are overweight, successful, and are not being bashed for their weight. It's just not possible. A lot of people are losing weight, even when they've like they use their weight to kind of make them where they are. Melissa McCarthy is a perfect example. You should lose weight if you want to. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going there. That's not what this video is about. What I'm trying to say is that there's not a lot of representation. And so I don't have really anyone to go by or any idea of how to be an overweight gay person in life. And if there were characters out there going through similar experiences, then maybe I would have some clue. I would at least have like a blueprint of how to build from there. But we don't. Same thing when it comes to representation in race. So even though a lot of people will say, well, I'm colorblind, that's cool. I get your sentiment, but it's actually very damaging, because then at that point what you're saying is that you are ignoring the fact that somebody is being treated unequally due to their race. Just because you don't see their race doesn't mean that the white supremacy in society today, especially here in America, has treated these people unequally. And you're saying that you're going to ignore that because you don't want to be seen as a racist for looking at somebody as their race. It is a very complex issue. It is a very sensitive issue as well. And so to kind of know how to hold people, to look at somebody and equally say, okay, I see this person, they're black, I need to treat them equally. I don't want to make it off like all I do is look at people and say, oh, they're black, and so therefore I have to treat them equally. I should treat them equally because they're a human being. Of course. That's not where I'm going with this, and I may not be wording it very well. But what I'm trying to say is that I see that they're black based on the things that I do know about the fact that they are oppressed, that they go through things that I will never be able to go through. I can go into that moment knowing all that and trying to come out as making sure that they're treated equally. Again, I may not be wording it very well, and it may not be the right thing to do. I can only do what I know. And hopefully if I am doing something wrong, then I can learn. But, so basically what I'm trying to say is that while we should look to one another as human beings, we shouldn't just go in and blindingly look at somebody and forget their entire culture, forget how they grew up, forget the things that they currently have to go through, all because you want to treat them how you want to be treated, the golden rule, when really we should be using the platinum rule. And the platinum rule is treat others how they want to be treated. Now, of course, we don't know that right offhand. We can only do that through communication. And I think communication is going to be key to the future in terms of coming together as a society, coming together as a people, and just kind of growing and uniting in this world. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that that was somewhat educational, informative. You know, again, I'm sorry if I used any phrases that were, that you do not agree with. These are just terms that I've used, in talks with other people about these very instances, and hopefully, you know, that's okay. I'm sorry if I did offend anybody. That's not my intention, but it can still happen. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them below. Like, subscribe, share, all those things. And again, I'm not an expert. I'm only learning, and the only way I can be a better person is by continuing to learn. It is not my place in terms of, I'm not going to say it's not my place, but I mean, it's not my culture, and therefore I don't want to offend anybody. If I said anything incorrectly, or if I said anything offensive, please feel free to comment and let me know. If I did say or do anything that you feel was discriminatory, that, you know, I can only do better by knowing better. And of course I can do my own research, and I'm trying. So, but you know, everybody learns by communication. So, all right, thanks guys. Have a good one. Bye. Mwah.